Hello and welcome to episode 61 of the Panenka View podcast. Don't be stunned because we've done 4 in 4 days. We are about to do the fifth on the fifth day. We've done Italian football, we've done the Premier League, and we've done the Bundesliga. And it is my pleasure to introduce Harish from FIIOB. Football is in our blood, who's making his debut on the podcast today to discuss La Liga. He's a Real Madrid fan, die-hard Real Madrid fan. We've been in the talks since a long time to do an episode, and finally, I think in this lockdown where we need something, football is back. Our lives are slowly coming back on track post the pandemic, and it's good to have you, Harish. Two wins in 2 games for Real Madrid. We are going to start with Real Madrid, and I'm going to put you straight on the spot. The match that happened yesterday, Real Madrid versus Valencia 3-0. To begin with, let's start with the golden boy making his return and scoring with his first touch. Can you elaborate on that?
I think that was a very iconic moment for most of the Real Madrid fans who followed the 16-17 season. Because his left foot, as described by Zidane, has always been magic, and and the fact that he came out after 11 months, that is almost 331 days of injury, to score with his first touch. There's this rumor that goes around in the football world that Zidane has some black magic going on the Madrid side. It's noticeable. If the tactics don't work, just set on some black magic and it works. I mean, that moment almost had most of us in tears. That was the consensus for most of the WhatsApp groups I'm in for Real Madrid, or most of the Facebook groups I'm in for Real Madrid. Everybody responded the same way. Everybody was overjoyed. It was a beautiful moment, and the left foot with the volley of the.
Yeah, I could see the reactions. I could see the posts. I could see a lot of the news that was trending, and were justified so, because the man is truly the future of Real Madrid. He's leading. He's the leading candidate for that. He's been doing so well, purely based on his talent. 330 days out with an ACL tear. It's always difficult to recoup, rehabilitate, and then come back. And with your first touch, extend the lead, double the lead, and secure those 3 points, because Valencia were looking to get an equalizer, but again Zidane with his Midas touch, I would say. The smile that was on his face when he sent Asensio. Was there something like, there's the Barca's ex-keeper Jasper Cillessen, and it's now time to put one past him and secure the 3 points. But Harish, yeah.
Cillessen has never played against Real Madrid before. Despite being at Barca for 2 years, he's never played against Real Madrid. So it was nice to put some against an ex-Barca goalkeeper as
well. Also, a guy who's been so underrated throughout his career, I feel, and he's always been there for Real Madrid. He's the top scorer right now. Karim Benzema scored a brace. And the second was a peach of a goal, was a world-class goal, overtaking the legendary Puskas. Let's talk about that, Harish.
What a moment. And that was an Asensio assist, if you didn't know. There was an Asensio assist as well. So it was an absolutely beautiful, and again, poetic justice, because overtaking Puskas' record with a Puskas-like goal, with a goal that could possibly be nominated for the Puskas by the end of the year. It was another beautiful moment. It probably summed up the second half for me. It was absolutely beautiful. From Casemiro's tackle to Cruz's pass, to open up play to Asensio. And Asensio's, first time volleyed pass from the outside of his foot, and Benzema's finish. My God, that was a beautiful finish.
And
it had Zidane's stunt.
Yeah, and to actually, Valencia, these fixtures against the likes of Valencia, Athletic Bilbao, and Sevilla tend to normally, be a pain in the ass so much. But I'm using that because we all know how things have gone over the years. But let's get your thoughts ahead. Let's go ahead, Harish, and let's not make it a one-sided discussion. Let's talk about that offside goal which was scored by Valencia. And firstly, was it offside? Because I am yet to see it on the replay.
Yeah, it was offside because see the two strikers were in offside position. There was Maxi Gomez who was Maxi Gomez was in an offside position and Varane was marking him. So it was the referee's perception that the ball took the touch of Maxi Gomez to reach Rodrigo. And upon watching it in slow motion, it looked pretty clear for me. But you could call me biased, but it did look offside. But I won't. I understand the Barca fans when they say, this was an offside, and because this is what we would do if it happens to someone like Suarez and Messi scores. This is what we would do. We debate that it was offside, and that was a very crucial juncture because Valencia fell apart after that. I mean, they were nil-nil. The scores were tied. It was a nil-nil, and Rodrigo hadn't scored since matchday 15. So if he had scored, there's a possibility of him scoring more because he already struck the crossbar once as well with,
Yeah.
with another beautiful chance. So
That's where I would like to direct you on that. The first half where that goal went in, it was given and then it was overturned. I saw a lot of posts saying there goes the title, and then I checked the scores again. It was 0-0. Also, what happens is let's talk about the momentum of the first and the second half. What changed compared to the first half? How was it in the first? How was it in the second?
probably Zidane's team talk. I mean, he would have asked them to up their tempo. The team was unchanged basically, and we brought more bodies into the box. Benzema and Hazard started getting into the box more instead of being on the ball. So that's one criticism that Zidane has faced because he doesn't employ poachers a lot. Ronaldo is different. He has to be there, but he doesn't like poachers, and he likes people who like to be on the ball. And Benzema and Hazard just keep playing outside the box. And now, when they got inside the box, Benzema got an opportunity and he put it away. So that was nice, and that was his 15th goal of the season, and he soon followed it up with his 16th. So that was nice.
Definitely. So, there's 3 points there against Valencia. And there were three more points in match day 28, which we have to talk about. Not everything. 3-1 against Eibar. Firstly, your thoughts on the football coming back in Spain. All the other leagues are back, and it's when you're a fan of a club. When football comes back to that country, you're most delighted. What was your thought on football? Real Madrid returning back to action.
Initially, I was very scared. There's this health hazard, and all of the players are basically my heroes. So the health hazards, oh my god, what would happen? But then when I saw them in their training kits, I was like, you know what? Screw the health hazards, they're back. And this is all we wanted to watch for the last 2 months. We've been bored at home. We've had nothing to do. Screw the crowd. I just want to watch these 22 players kick a ball. And it happened. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying every minute of it as it comes.
So let's talk about the score line 3-1 against Eibar and Captain Fantastic scoring his 92nd goal. There's a trivia behind that, Harish. I would like our viewers and our listeners to hear it from you, see it from you. What was that 90-second? Why was that 90-second goal so special?
It equaled the number of goals scored by Ronald Koeman when he was at Barcelona. That is the highest scoring record for a defender in La Liga. So, I mean, Ramos, everybody knows he's the main man. He is probably the best poacher we have. That says a lot about our team.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and there are two people I want to talk more about before we focus anywhere else, and that is a certain Welshman making his 250th appearance. What exactly is going on with him and the injury record that we've been seeing?
I think he's done. I think he has to go this summer because we have plenty of options. Instead of him now because we have Rodrigo and we have Vinicius who can play on the right flank as well, and we have Asensio back. So there's that.
Yeah.
So Asensio has more impact than him in the entirety of the 2020 with his first touch. I think Bale is done. I think he has to be way below the pecking order now. He's over. His career at Real Madrid is over. And there's Lucas Vazquez as well, who's probably over him in
Hmm.
terms of pecking order because Zidane prefers a lot of workhorse-like ability. He likes people who track back a lot, and Lucas provides that with very unselfish gratitude. The fact that he's in Real Madrid. Yeah,
Also,
so I
let's
think
also yeah. Also, let's talk about James Rodriguez. I saw a lot of posts with him sitting on the bench. Has it's clear he's fallen, out of the pecking order with, and he's not in Zidane's plans. Does it look like even he is on his way out soon and from Real
oh
Madrid?
yeah, he is. So firstly, he doesn't fit the system at all. He was a first choice midfielder for us at the start of the season. I don't know if you remember this, but he was playing on the right hand side of midfield with Toni Kroos, James Rodriguez, and Casemiro. But we lost to PSG 3-0. Now I'm not attributing it completely to Hamish. I can't because he's a fantastic player, no doubt about that. But he just doesn't fit into Zidane's style of play, and Zidane likes players who switch it up a lot. Isco, for example, he has tactical freedom to play wherever he wants, but Hamish is restricted to that CAM role. He's an extremely talented. I love the guy. I mean, the 2014-15 season was iconic because he had double figures in both goals and assists, which was absolutely brilliant for us. And he just fell out of favor, and it's clear that he needs to move somewhere else. Napoli would be a really good move for him, or somewhere like Juventus could be a really good move. I heard Atletico Madrid were interested, but I hope he doesn't go because, again, as I say, he's still a fantastic player.
Yeah. So, Harish, great analysis there on the Real Madrid front. But La Liga is back, and it would not look good if we don't talk about Lionel Messi and FC Barcelona, who are on top of the La Liga table. I know now, being a Real Madrid fan, we're going to talk about Barcelona, but let's talk about the two games. And let's talk about the previous game where they won 2-0. Barcelona winning 2-0 against Leganes. So Messi's impact there, dribbling past players, winning the penalty. Um, what do you have to say on that?
There's nothing to say. I mean, he's probably the best player I've ever watched play football. I am a huge Ronaldo fan myself, but over the years, you come to realize how good a player he is. How fantastic he is as a footballer. This He's virtually unchallenged for me right now because Ronaldo. I mean, he's old now. He's 35. He's not the player he was. Very obviously not. And Messi just keeps getting better, and that's kind of hurtful because the rest of the Barcelona squad is falling apart, and that 33-year-old, 32-year-old Argentine, he's just going about his way. And there's Ansu Fati as well, who's 17. He looks a really tight prospect. I'm not supposed to say nice things about my rivals, but I don't know. I like those two players who scored. That's all.
So let's talk about the top goal scorer. I mean, Messi is at 21. Benzema scored a brace yesterday. He's 5 goals behind Lionel Messi. Um, Now comes the crucial point. We are obviously going to put up a few scores towards the end of the episode, but now the main question: 9 games to go, and we're talking about the title race. 2 points gap. Now, before the lockdown, before the leagues halted, Real Madrid lost to Betis, if I'm not wrong, 2-1. I think that's why the 2 point deficit. But how is the La Liga title race shaping up according to you? Right?
Uh, I would say that it still favors us because we have significantly easier fixtures to go through, and we have a very young squad as well. We have excellent depth in our side, and we don't have a lot of UCL fixtures to worry about. We don't have the Copa del Rey to worry about. I mean, neither do Barca, but they have a very Barca have a very aged squad. This could work to their favor because of the experience that they have, but normally speaking, since we have fixtures every 2 days now, 2 or 3 days now, you need a young and a fresh squad. And Barca have some very tough fixtures coming up as well. They have the Sevilla game away, which is today night or like tomorrow morning, and they have a game against Atletico Madrid coming up. We finished our fixtures against Atletico and Barcelona, so and against Athletic Club. So we don't have the level of fixtures that Barca do. But again, there's that one man making the difference for them every damn time over the last 11 to 12 seasons. It's just
Definitely.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and so the reason we're doing this so early is because Barca plays Sevilla tonight, and that is going to be one hell of a fixture. But let's talk about a few more things, Harish. Let's talk about a few more things. Let's talk about Atletico Madrid, and let's talk about top four, the top four race that looks. How is the top four shaping up? What's your prediction towards the?
The first two is either one of Real Madrid and Barcelona. We're just way too clear up there. Valencia and Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. Sevilla is third for me because they're just really good as well and they have a very good squad. They have really good squad depth and all. And Atletico they shine now and then, but I really don't. I can't see them finishing above Sevilla because Sevilla have a very good squad. Sevilla have a terrific squad. There's that. And Lopetegui, he has a lot of he has a lot of fresh ideas for La Liga. Even though he failed miserably for us, he has a lot of fresh ideas. And
And it's good to
today,
see, yeah, and it's good to see him back. I mean, I know managers these days don't get time, and they are at a club like Real Madrid. You always have the spotlight on you. If you don't do well, there's criticism from all over. Also, Harish, let's talk something more. Let's talk a little about Getafe as well, who are surprising everyone and in that top four spot previously. Do you see them finish in the European positions, Europa League at least?
oh yeah, they might because I mean I think they will because their competition is what Sociedad and Villarreal and Villarreal again they're a very inconsistent side. On their day they're nearly unbeatable to play. But Getafe, I mean, their manager Jose Bordalas. He's basically this miracle man who's taken the club from the brink of relegation to this, consistently finishing in Europe squad, and they have huge experience in their squad, and they play a very dry, a very uh, Atletico-like style of play. I mean, I'm not saying Atletico is dry. I'm just saying that they don't have the kind of Spanish style that you expect from La Liga teams, and that takes everybody by surprise every time. So like you see the games that they play against Barcelona and Real Madrid, and they make it very tough for us. So that's another team now. So there was
Yeah.
Athletic Bilbao, there was Real Sociedad, there's Villarreal, there's Valencia, Sevilla. These five always trouble Real Madrid and Barcelona and Atletico. But again, Getafe has joined the race now, and Getafe is a very, very hard side to break down. No
Hmm.
doubt about that.
But and let's
And
get into,
statistically,
yeah.
and a piece of trivia, statistically, Genie Daconam, who's basically their talisman, he had better stats than Virgil van Dijk last season in terms of everything, clearances, interceptions, and everything. So there's that very hard side to play against.
Hmm. Well, well, Harish, it's been a pleasure having you. But before we go, we have a couple of things more to give away, and that is the match day 28 results. I mean, let's we already know Mallorca, Barca winning 4-0 there, Ibar and Madrid winning 3-1. Atletico had a 1-all draw last
Yes.
time around. I mean, they draw a lot. I know Atletico and Athletic Bilbao. And in match day 21, let's say, so seeing in match day 29, sorry, Barca's 2-0 win, Real Madrid 3-0. So the top two are pretty much have been consistent so far, but it's just been two games. And we also have so many, 9 more match days to go. The title race is heating up. We might have a Barca fan or a two, and we might make this podcast more, some, I'm not going into what we are going to do ahead, but it's been a great podcast. This is the debut edition of the La Liga on the Panenka View podcast, and it's great having you, I mean, at this point on such a short notice firstly. So any final thoughts on the episode, on the two match days, or anything you would like to share?
It's the title race is still too very early to say. I'd like to do this very. I mean, I like podcasts like this because it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you give a lot of room for discussion. You bring up a lot of topics that are important to discuss. And thank you for the opportunity. That's all.
So looking forward to more of these episodes, Harish, because since you mentioned that
Okay.
2 or 3 games, there are games in 2 or 3 days that like the teams face. We're going to do two match days at a time. That's what I'm looking at, because that's when we can, get some breathing space, like between the fixtures. So keep listening to the Panenka View podcast. Do like and subscribe. Harish is going to join me over the course of the season and beyond, and we still have the Champions League to talk about. Well, all that is a different discussion. As I always do on this episode, here's your host Prasad signing out with Harish on this episode of the Panenka View podcast.